What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm a little bit late to the party, but there was a balance patch the other day. I was off in Singapore playing a show, so I unfortunately missed out on that drop. I have looked through it very, very briefly and listened to Magic's take on the balance patch. But before I jump in, I can't really remember what any of the changes are. I sort of tuned out when we got to the China section, more like interested in what he was thinking about the other stuff. So before we jump in, I want to go through what I think this Chinese Civ has got going for it that I think is very, very powerful. And we'll go in and see if I'm close on changes and maybe you'll get a bit of a better understanding of why I might not like some changes and what I might really like some other changes. So for starters here, we'll just go through god powers. The archaic, the classical age. Well, I guess the archaic age god powers first and foremost. This Peach Blossom Spring is pretty fine. The creation one, that was way too powerful. This one's fine. Okay, classical age, we had Earth Wall. I've talked about this a bunch. I really want to see the amount of wall segments getting like dropped by some degree such that more units can actually attack the one segment of wall to kill it, right? That's the hard part. That's the thing that makes it very, very tricky to kill. Yeah, all the other classical age god powers were kind of in line. Then we have this one here, Fey Beast, this god power. I think this is probably going to be the most difficult god power to balance with its current design. The damage it does is ridiculous. The speed at which it runs is ridiculous. The HP that it has is really small. So at the moment, it is way overtuned, doing way too much damage, or before this patch, way too much damage. I want to see this one get very, very heavily nerfed, but maybe some sort of a redesign could be an interesting angle there as well. I can talk about that depending on what they're going to pick. The drought here, this was fine. I've heard some people complaining about it. I actually think it's a really interesting god power, and I think this forest protection thing is really good and fine as well. I think the Great Flood was going on too far. It did too much damage over the length of distance. It was just a bit silly. Blazing Prairie was just a bit silly in terms of the damage it was doing, if you used it correctly, that is. And this Earth Dragon thing here, or Yinglong's Wrath, this thing, I just didn't think it should get healing. Okay. Apart from that, those are the big ticket ones. There can be a whole bunch of other stuff that gets fixed or buffed or nerfed inside of this Civ. Those are the big ticket ones. In terms of god powers. Big ticket ones in terms of techs, there's really only one that sticks out like a sore thumb. There are some other ones as well, don't get me wrong, but this is the one that sticks out like a sore thumb. Advanced defenses. Now, I know I made a video on it. I'm sorry, but I kind of expected there to be a balance patch maybe like a week out, not 2 weeks, 3 weeks out, however long it took. But nonetheless, I just wanted this. I wanted this thing gone from the meta as fast as it came in. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, this tech here. There's two ways to think about this. Maybe I'll see what they pick and I'll give you my things on it. But I want that tech to get nerfed into the ground. There's one other tech here which I think is ridiculous, which is this one here, which gives you like basically 30% bonus HP against hack, while 20% against pierce. So it's a lot of extra HP. Okay. That's kind of it. I mean, there's some myth unit stuff here and there. I'll be interested to see what they change. And yeah, there is some other stuff that that I think will be interesting. But I just wanted to go through that and just like put that on the page so you guys know what I'm thinking about with this Civ before we jump in onto this thing. So let's jump over to this tab now. Bam. And we've got ourselves the patch notes. So first and foremost, I was wrong when I was kind of playing earlier. I thought that a lot of the performance issues were getting fixed, but it did seem like the more I played, the more performance issues started arising. So it's like, it was kind of like, yeah, a bit funky in the back of my brain, a bit funky. But what I've heard is that in this patch so far, yes, it's a lot better. There's a lot of stability, performance fixes. It does feel like it's a lot more smooth, but yeah, things like I'm hoping things like the obvious ones like the god powers are getting like had a good hard look out and how to fix that up. No more huge frame drops while we kill off the earth wall is going to be really good. So that's basically everything in terms of this. Basically, this whole entire section you can just think as just going to be like obviously what it says. All right, we could go into it, but I don't really think there's much there. And as you're going to watch through the coming weeks, you'll notice if it's better or not. So I recommend to watch the games from then to see how it's going if you're still kind of on the fence about how the stability is going. Okay, so some extra achievements, or not extra achievements, just fixing the bugs there. Localization, fixing some of the translations, graphics. So this is the big one here, performance improvements on Asgardian effects, frost ice sheets, etc., etc. Minor updates, Talwu, Arcus and Toxodia attack timings to better suit their animations. Oh, that's actually kind of nice. That's kind of nice. Now so most people when they shoot and scoot with these, I didn't realize they were off. Most people who shoot and scoot with these are watching the animation as to when they want to pull back. If that animation is like not correct by like even like 100 milliseconds or something, you're pulling back that 100 milliseconds later, plus obviously the human reaction time on the whole thing as well. And you're just not getting as much value out of your unit. So having that fixed up is going to be nice. Not sure what that is. Birth VFX for the Terracotta Riders looks cool. Chongqi Taowu to not upgrade their visuals when technology is being reversed. Great. I think this is all just kind of nice stuff. All the audio stuff, the UI. Anything cool here? Daily Celestial Challenge leaderboard can now refresh on. Nice. Is there anything interesting here? Earth Wall's description has been adjusted to more accurately describe its behavior, allowing allies to pass. That's not really what I'm looking for. With UI shenanigans, added a new setting for camera drag type with options for continuous drag, world drag, and no drag. Defaults to the old continuous drag behavior. Cool. That's going to be nice. Going to have to try that out. This one here is really big for me personally. It might not be the biggest for everyone else, but for me, this is a godsend. You can expect all of the high quality photo mode thumbnails from here on out. So yes, so 16x in a recorded game. There's two things that are good for this. One, if things go really badly in a tournament, you can kind of speed up really quickly to the point in the recorded game to actually keep the tournament flow going. So that's really nice. And two, for those of you like really wanting to watch a specific moment in a game, because that's where things matter, right? When I lost a game at say 21 minutes into the game at this one fight, I was like, I had no idea what happened, but my army just got absolutely erased by something. I couldn't tell. Now I can speed up to it. And instead of having to wait, say 10 minutes to get there, I only have to wait like 2 minutes to get there. So that's really, really nice. So huge, huge, huge for all things viewing of recorded games. So I'm definitely going to be watching a lot of my own recorded games back to learn, because then I can just jump to that moment and it's going to be good. I am yet to see anything else that is super interesting. Player colors can now be changed in multiplayer ranked lobbies. Oh, baby. This is... Okay, all right. For those of you who really don't want to play against every color under the sun, you can just use friend foe colors. Okay, so that's one. Two, there are a couple of colors that look really, really similar to other colors. So if you do happen to jump into a game and that somehow managed to happen, say for example, blue and purple, right? Turn on friend and foe colors. Don't put yourself through that sort of pain. You can also go into the accessibility setting and actually change that stuff. So put that in the back of your mind there. If you ever do suffer from that, you can find some sort of workarounds to this. But this is cool because I know there's lots of players that like the Viper from Age 2 always in the yellow color, for example. There's players that just like one specific color and want to be that color every single time. So that's cool. Okay. So I fixed some bugs with the find all stuff. I was noticing that was a problem and trying to play around it. Now I don't have to. Happy days. Using concretes for pre-queuing age ups no longer. Pre-queues 6 of the Titans. Okay, cool. Unfortunately, for the controller players, I don't really know anything, so I can't give you any information. Read this and tell me what you think. If you're having any issues with the Xbox or the PlayStation in this current patch, definitely put a comment in the comment section below. Or if you're not, and it's great, let me know as well, because I think that sort of feedback is really, really helpful. Okay, so gameplay. This is where things get interesting. Fixed a bug causing dead trees to not have any obstructions. Capturable buildings can no longer prevent other nearby capturable buildings from being converted by enemy units. This fixes a bug where, for multiple plenty vaults nearby together could keep the capture state manually shared with no other units. Yeah, that's funny. Okay. Fixed a bug that made Loki's units spawn more than intended. That was already in. Some units have been modified to no longer count towards both military and economic score. Interesting. Fixed Maelstrom tooltip to accurately reflect a 5% chance to spawn rather than 20%. Okay. Yinglong now has a range indicator of 20, which covers the radius for the deluge, as well as the farm boosting aura. Fixed a bug where Kualfu and citizens did not use their reduced build rate on town centers. This will result in citizens and Kualfu's building town centers slower than before. Didn't know it was affecting the citizens. Great. So for those of you who were not aware, for example, the hero Kualfu, which is Nuwa's unique unit, this one, or unique one of the unique heroes, this one would build a town center in 30 seconds, where I believe it was supposed to be around 50 to a minute. So that would result in a Nuwa player who goes for a fast second town center simply being in front on villagers than they're supposed to by 2, which might not seem like a lot, but over the course of a game, being in front by 2 villagers every minute that passes, that's 120 resources. And you saw this time and time again. When you look at the graph, you're like, man, he's just in front of me by, at this point, by 1,000 resources. And you're like, well, why? Why is he in front of me by he's just cheating. He's just got more stuff. And it's just because of this bug. So this should put a dent just in of itself in the win rate of Nuwa, as well as potentially some of the other Chinese gods. Fixed a bug where the Chillin did not heal allied units with its heal aura. Updates the improvements of AI behavior. I'm always scared about going up against the AI now. It's actually getting really, really strong. So definitely, if you haven't tried it out, go in and jump in against the AI and try and beat it, because it's definitely getting better and better and better as these patches come through. Fix some bugs that could occur in pathfinding, including improvements to pathing near water. Fixed a bug affecting selection of axe cards. Knocked out units now ignored when determining conquest victory in Arena of the Gods to prevent becoming stuck while losing in some situations. Fixed minor issues with KB and death tracking for Chinese props and objects. Not sure what that means. Fishing ships can no longer drop off food at non-docks if they happen to be reachable and closer than the actual docks. Huh? Wait. What does this mean? This is actually a big change if it is what I think it is. Fishing ships can no longer drop off food at non-docks if they happen to be reachable and closer than actual docks. This just means it won't automatically drop off in the granary anymore? Or the ox cart? I think that's what it means. Maybe they'll drop off if you have a dock, if you don't have a dock. I'm really not sure. I actually really like this. I know it might have seemed like it was a bit of a bug. Maybe it was. But I actually really like this because it kind of gave you a choice. And strategy games are all about choice, in that I can either spend 50 resources on a drop site, not get a dock out, and also not have the defense on that position because you can't garrison the fishing ships in there. So it's kind of nice, and it did actually help out with certain civilizations' success and not success on those maps as well. So maybe that's why this has happened to some degree, more of a balanced thing than anything else, but getting grouped in as a bug. Not sure. Unfortunate there for the people who like to use that. Okay, Undermine now works on Earth Wall. Fantastic. It should. It's a wall. Undermine is built to kill walls. Designed to kill wars. Tao Wu can now throw cavalry with its dash. Temple of Healing and Feast of Renown. Now he'll flying units. Okay. Vanish no longer works on Titans. Docks can now be properly time shifted. Sick. This is a huge buff to Kronos. There is some really, really disgusting ideas with this. In the best way possible. In the best way possible. I think Kronos is going to become a really good pick on water now. Specifically on maps like Anatolia, Midgard, Peach Blossom Springs. Probably not maps like Mediterranean. But yeah, any of those maps that are like kind of hybridish, I think he's going to have a great time. All right, so fixed a bug causing dwarf gold gather rate on the Peach Blossom Spring to be higher than the base gather rate. Okay, I don't think that's a bit of a nothing thing because you'd never be on that. Fixed a bug that could, actually you could. There are some strats. Come to think of it, in a team game, drop Peach Blossom Spring into the Norse player's base. Giving Norse players extra economy is always kind of a big boost in those team games. Anyways, release Skylanders now will probably cast when Pioneers are performing auto scouting. Cool. Sage can no longer target Yinglong and Nidhogg. Great. That was really, really silly. Not sure what that is, but good. Fixed a bug causing tiles. Secret tools do not apply to wood. Okay. Fixed a bug causing the vortex compound to have unnatural interactions with curse and implode. What does that even mean? I wonder if they fixed the vortex with that's literally this one. Okay, yes, they did. Oh, great. Now you can probably use vortex to escape implode, which is how it was in the old game, and I imagine that's kind of cool. So you got a really good option for, say, playing Uranos versus Gaia or Kronos. If they go for Atlas, you can definitely go for Helios. All right, Hundun will now quickly perform retargeting after its banished ability to ensure it has a new target. Great. Fixed a bug preventing building of towns and as if they're obstructed. Cool. I think this one was mostly the Earth Wall. Flying units no longer become invisible when over a farm affected by prosperous seeds. When using unit uses maul or jump to escape, any following units will now check if there are other nearby valid targets to swap to. Okay. Fixed a bug with herbal medicine. Okay. Fixed a bug attack move. Fixed a bug causing attack move to not work with stealth. Yatsu's speed attack behavior is now improved to reduce the likelihood of becoming stuck on impassable and obstructed tiles. Is there something for the Anubite, perhaps? Still waiting for that. Maybe it's in here somewhere, but I'm still waiting for that, like Anubite, Bellerophon, the kind of jumping things that get stuck in like forests and walls and things that needs to get out of the game ASAP. Maybe that's in here somewhere. I missed it. I'm not sure. I did see. I'm not sure. Anyways. Set priest performing conversion can no longer be valid targets for retaliation when a hostile. Thank you. All right, set's win rate is going to go back up to 60% now. No stopping the set. Fix a bug causing Earthwall to use the cursor position instead of the target unit's position when casting. Okay, great. I'm not exactly. I think there was a bug where Earthwall could kind of go anywhere if you had the right angle on it, but okay. So some changes to the campaign. All right. Fortress type buildings. Bonus damage versus ships reduced from 6x to 3x. This doesn't really change a whole lot on the current maps. I think that having 3x bonus damage versus the ships is still going to be a huge amount of damage. I don't see this doing anything. I think you're still going to put fortresses down on a harbor. I think this was something we used to do or at least I used to do in Legacy to combat the now champion warships that are increased the siege ship attack range by +4. So I don't think this is going to change that interaction. You're still going to want to put that fortress on the shore to defend. And then when the warships come through to try and clear it out, because they've got the extra range to avoid fire, you're going to get out a Petropolis or a catapult or or a ballista or something, fire siphon, something to siege down that ship from taking your stuff down. That's probably what's going to continue to happen. It's just going to be, the fortress is just not going to be a little bit less punishing. So if you see the fortress going up, you can be fighting. Oh, it's up. All right, I got some time to retreat without losing all my ships. So kind of a good thing. All right, this relic here, Fae, Tale of the Fae, my least favorite relic now. Movement speed reduced from 5.5 to 4.0. Infection damage reduced from 0.5 to 0.25 damage per second. Damage reduced from 9 to 6. So this is still faster than a villager. So I hate to say it, but I think this is still going to be really, really annoying. It's only got 55 HP. If I pick this relic up, I'm probably just going to send it in onto your wood line, run it around, live the dream. I'm not sure if it was fixed or not, but if you don't attack with this relic and your opponent isn't watching, they don't get an alarm going off. So yeah, this relic was, I mean, just that feature alone coming from this relic was insane. 0.25 damage per second. I'm pretty sure it's times 5. I'm pretty sure every time it's infected or something. I don't know. I think it stacks. I'm not 100% sure. I know this was doing more damage than 0.5 damage per second. I know it was, because you would lose a lot of stuff against this thing. But nonetheless, okay, let's keep going. All right, so we got, I do know already, I was listening to Magic, there weren't a lot of Pantheon changes to the original 4. So I want to go through these changes and maybe explain why that might have been. Not that I have the answers, but I think I've given it some thought, and I want to at least put those thoughts into words. So we got Petropolis here. This is a really nice change. This unit, I actually really liked using this unit, and I just wish that it was easier to get out. You spend 600 resources or 700 resources if you count the 10 favor on a fortress, and then you build the Petropolis out, and then you start sieging, and then moments later, like, your opponent has got like a Mythic Age God power and just smacks you, and you kind of like, why did I waste the time with that? I should have just kept spamming units, and then I would have been able to survive the God power, and then I would have been able to push later. But now this is much less of a commitment, and it comes out a bit faster. Might even be able to squeeze out 2 before you start really like going, oh, is something coming? Is something coming? You might actually be able to kill off some buildings with this. So that's nice. Next one here, the Rock. This is a bit of a nothing change. The Rock is, and at the moment will always be, a unit that is primarily going to be to avoid walls. So if your opponent completely walls the map in, the best way to use this is to pick your units up, fly over the forest, out of line of sight, drop down, let the units out, go and raid. And then when they're running to retreat away from the enemy army, you've got the Rock there waiting, jump into the Rock, fly back over the forest, and you're out of there. This unit is never going to be a unit that you're going to be able to use what you used to do in Legacy. Personally, I think it's a great thing because it was really annoying. So yeah, I would say this is a bit of a nothing change. Cheaper, so you can do it a bit easier. You still get one for free, so you're still going to be able, it doesn't matter. Maybe you're going to build more of these in the late game. Maybe that's where you're going to start seeing some more usage. The hit points being a bit higher, I don't think it really changes much, but we'll see. A bit more speed is nice as well, so you don't have to wait so long to get to the point where you want it to go to. But that's the best usage of the Rock at the moment. Okay, next one, Frere. This god, I hate this god. It's too strong. This is the only god that I think I win when I feel like I'm doing nothing. Okay, Ghoul and Bursty no longer stuns enemies upon impact. No! All I want is this unit to not do damage upon impact. That's what I want, personally. Okay, let me explain maybe a little bit about what Frere's doing and why this god is actually one of the best gods at the moment, in my opinion. So basically what Frere can do is, when no other civilization can, Frere can grab a town center. in spots where he really shouldn't be able to. If you're like comparing what's going on, like my opponent's built X units, Freyr has built Y units, and then Freyr just goes, I better just drop the talent center down now because I got enough units to get it up. And then he gets the talent center up, and then you go, well, I better attack him because he hasn't been spending resources on building those units. And then he goes, boom, Ghoul and Bursty comes down, all your dudes die, or you have to burn a really important classical age god power to run away, and you're sad. So that's one thing that's going on with this god that I think is really, really challenging to play around. Maybe that's a problem with me, but I'm also winning with this god, so maybe it's a problem with everyone. So yeah, my thought on this is if this didn't do any damage on impact, at least in like the classical age, and maybe just reduce the damage in the heroic age, you would find that the Ghoul and Bursty would be able to come down and defend that position, but you wouldn't have to burn a god power to run away. And I think that would be the good thing, because they did something stupid by getting a talent center when they shouldn't have. And you punished it, and they lose their big Ghoul and Bursty. I think that would have been something nice. But with them not stunning on impact, at least now you can run away. You're still going to take damage. Some civs can't heal their units, like Greek, so they're going to be sad. Other civs can heal their units, so they're going to be able to heal them, and they're going to be happy. So yeah, okay, that's my spiel on that. Okay, next one is Aegir Tempest. Tempest got this is a decent nerf, going from 10 divine down to 5 PS, 5 divine. Bonus damage versus buildings increased from 1.75 to 3. Hang on, I didn't even know that was a thing. Apparently, if you drop this down, enemy buildings take more damage. Did not know that. We learned together. Okay, so I don't think, yeah, this kind of helps against the more melee units that have got like more PS armor, like a Hippias or something. But yeah, the main thing, as it says here, is going to be against siege weapons. So yeah, this god power is really, really good. Probably could have done with a bit of a nerf instead of this is a little tiny itsy bitsy nerf, but I'm gonna be watching this god like a hawk, trying to figure out if it's still on top or not, in my opinion. Okay, Fimbulwinter god power adjusts as follows: wolf pack size increased from 6 to 8. Maximum amount of wolves that can spawn from god power reduced from 80 to 60. Hang on, what does this mean? Maximum amount of wolves can... Now that the number of the wolves is capped, we can slightly increase the pack size to make the god power more impactful on the location. Does end up spawning it. Okay. I feel like this is somewhat of a nerf to Fimbulwinter, somewhat of a buff in some situations. So what you want... let's just talk 1v1 and then we'll talk team game. So what you want in a 1v1 is you want the god power to spread onto every single location your opponent has villagers, because you want them to have 0 income for those 35 seconds. That's where you get all of the resources. That's where you get all the damage, excuse me. So 100 times 35 seconds, that's the amount of resources that your opponent loses in that situation. So you want to be able to idle them all. So this year, you might see this not hitting everywhere. It might not. I'm not exactly sure. In team games, I don't think it matters. Like, the whole idea here is it doesn't want to hit everything because it's too much. So I think this is good for team games, because if you get the wolf spawn pack in a nice place to be attacking and doing like a sort of timing with, like multiple things going on, I think that can be quite nice. But there's some RNG there, but nonetheless. Fenris Wolf adjusts as follows: movement speed increased from 5.3 to 5.5. Hack damage increases from 35 to 40. Yeah, this unit was just not seeing any use. I'm not 100% sure if it was bad, but the reason it was never seeing use was because there was just better options. So, for example, Thor would make Dwarven Gold Mines. That's just his best move. His best move with favor is Dwarven Gold Mines. It's always been Dwarven Gold Mines. It's going to continue to be Dwarven Gold Mines until it gets nerfed. That is just really, really strong. I can't put it any other way than that. Loki, he's going to be dropping Flaming Weapons. He's going to be dropping Fimble Winters. And if he's going to be making myth units, it's probably going to be in the Heroic Age with Battle Boars, or it's going to be in the Mythic Age with Fire Giants. If you go through tier, probably just going to be dropping more Flaming Weapons. If you're Odin, well, at that moment, well, I could make more Fimble Winters, but I don't have that extra option of the Flaming Weapons as well. I do have Frost, but nonetheless, what do I want to build? Do I want to build the Fenris Wolf, where I have to get out like 5 of them before they get effective? Or do I want to build the Valkyrie, which is roughly the same cost, maybe a little bit more, a little bit extra, but roughly the same cost, and has an upgrade and is really, really good in the Mythic Age? Probably going to make the Valkyrie, right? And then obviously Freyr, he doesn't have tier. So that, yeah. So I don't know if this is really going to do much. You might see it used. Not sure. I think the problem with this unit right now is I would like to see it having maybe like you can build 10 and all 10 boost up the speed, and then they can just go really, really quickly around the map and cause a lot of problems, because that's where it's the most fun. Maybe not fun to deal with, which is probably why it's not that it got changed. I think you can only get up to like max 6 or max 7 or something, but maybe you could just maybe it could be increased a little bit to get that effectiveness and get that sort of thing happening in team games, for example, or in certain 1v1 matchups. All right, next one is Atlantean Pantheon. Implode God Power now deals minus 90% versus farms on explosion. Okay. That's kind of nice, to be honest. There was this really, really, I don't want to say toxic use, but I had it happen to me once, and I was playing Poseidon, thank God, but someone dropped an implode on me, and I lost like all my farmers because they all died to the implode, and I lost all my farms. So luckily I got back like 40 militia or something so I could keep fighting, but yeah, then I had to rebuild the villages and rebuild the farms. So it's kind of brutal. And a lot of other god powers don't do this. Like, I'm pretty sure Earthquake doesn't kill off farms, for example. So yeah, you should be like looking at one or the other in terms of like what sort of damage people are taking, not their entire base. So this is a good change. All right, so next one, New War, Terracotta Riders no longer lose HP. Sorry, I said I was going to do this beforehand. Let's talk about this this very small patch that came out for the original Pantheons. My honest opinion is that the balance of the game for Greek, Egyptian, Norse, and Atlantean is much better than it is bad. So it's in a much better spot than it is in a bad spot, if that makes any sense. Now, you can say Greek might be a tiny bit too weak. You might say Norse might be a tiny bit too strong. You can probably say Egyptian players have to play a little bit too specific at the moment to have success. There's not a whole lot of options for them. And you might say, Atlantean is kind of flown under the radar and is kind of hidden OP at the moment, but isn't actually OP. It's just like a little bit better. So that's where I'm at the moment with the balance, in my opinion. If you want my credentials, I got top 10 with random god, which means I don't pick my god. I don't care what god I get on what map. So I'm not playing to the map. I'm not playing to the matchup. I get whatever I get. So yeah, I'm basically winning with all the gods if I play well. If I play bad, I lose. And that's at the top 10 level. Or the top 50 level, whatever you want to call it. So take it or leave it. If you believe me, you can. But realistically, at the moment, the game is very much in the hands of the player who performs the best, in my opinion. Okay, moving on. Let's look at China. So we've already talked about this a little bit. Okay, so Terracotta Riders no longer lose HP at a reduced rate. This is, so there was this thing that I think right here was an unintentional bonus. It was just not meant to be there. But Soup showed that you could research this thing in the Archaic Age, send the units to your opponent's base, harass, and basically be attacking them with this stupid thing at 1 HP, and it was just really silly. So that's gone. Good. Favored land auto build adjusts as follows. Build rate on favored land reduced from 1 to 0.5 build points per second, and no longer applies to walls and farms. Okay. This was the obvious thing that was going to happen. As soon as I saw this, I was like, dude, people are just going to go, they're just going to build chemo walls, literal chemo walls everywhere they possibly can. And it's going to be the most annoying thing ever. Not only that, they're going to be able to sort of create these really silly ghost building things where they drop 1 wall, 2 wall, 3 wall as your army gets stuck in there, and you bash one down, bash the next one down, and the third one's like basically completed. I was like, nah, this is not going to be in the game for very long. So glad that one got taken out. The next one that I'm a little concerned of with Noir is auto build towers, because auto build towers is effectively, I can go and expand my favored land very, very quickly. It's a very large amount of land. I don't have to send anything over there. I'm just gonna pop down a tower on the edge of my radius of whatever it is. That's gonna build. Sure, it's taking like, I don't know how long it takes, maybe like 60 seconds to build the tower. But I'm gonna keep on doing that. I think that's a little bit like dangerous, to say the very least. I might be wrong. I hope I am. But we might. I wouldn't be surprised to see that restricted at some point as well. Everything else with this auto build feature actually feels really nice to use. I'm a big fan of like auto build on my houses, on my military buildings, and just kind of in general, like how cool it is. I can drop my town center and then immediately throw up like 5 military buildings around the town center and just zhunk, they're up. It's really nice. Okay, creation. This god power here was a little bit powerful. Okay. So heroic age 10 to 8, mythic age 25 to 12. Clay peasants have their stats reduced as follows: reduced siege bonus to match what they are with the rest of the villagers. Hit points reduced to match what they are with the rest of the villagers, and the damage reduced from 6 to 3. So yeah, this god power was being used to deny town centers in the early game. So you would drop it. Actually, it was doing 2 things. So we'll do the first one first. Was if you saw your opponent taking a town center, you'd use it much like you'd use a carnivora to either shank down, but moving carnivora, you'd either shank down the villagers. 4 villagers with 100 HP is the same as 8 villagers, right? So you would win that fight more times than not. If there was like 5 or 6 villagers there, you could just start shanking, and like your opponent goes, well, I can't do anything, and it just costs you a god power. It's not even that big of a deal, to be honest. So yeah, this thing was really oppressive there. One other thing that is also going to be very powerful, even with this reduction, is going to be I can still drop clay peasants anywhere on the map, whenever I want, however I want. It's basically like a underworld or a shifting sands. All I have to do is get line of sight, and I'm there, and I'm spamming stuff up. This is still going to be really, really powerful. I'm still a little bit concerned about this god power. I think it should be restricted to favored land, but I understand that that's not fun. This is like, on the one hand, my competitive brain says, if you put it on favored land, you're just going to cut down all of that really, really over the top, insanely powerful late game sort of power. And then my fun brain says, but if you cut that, then now I can't do any of the fun other strategies, like, I don't know, dropping the villagers in the corner of the map to mine a gold mine to keep me alive in a game for the 2 minutes, like that sort of stuff. So it's this weird one where I'm not exactly sure what to do. If you got any ideas and you understand where I'm coming from, then feel free to drop a comment about it. Okay, Shenong farm style auto build only on favored land. That's fantastic. That's kind of funny. This is to prevent cases where you could place farms for free, line of sight all over the map. That's kind of funny. All right. Earth wall. Okay, this one. Here we go. How to. Earth wall adjusted as follows. Foundation phase duration increased from 20 to 30 seconds, during which it receives 4x more damage. Fantastic. This was getting up remarkably fast in my games, and I was just like, well, I'm like pretty quick on this. Like I was very switched on to this early on. I was like, how do I beat this god power? What do I do? Okay, as soon as they cast it, I got to go and kill it. And even if I was doing that, I was still like not getting through it. So yeah, this is good. This is getting a little bit extra time for everyone. Initial hit points reduced from 300 to 150. Okay, that's just where it starts. So fine, you're going to be able to kill it off very quickly if you get there straight away. Earth wall segments Physical size increased from 2x1 to 3x1. This means each segment has more surface area. Fantastic. More units can attack it. That's all that it needed. All this other stuff might not have even been important. This is the main one. So yeah, 64 to 42 just means that I think you're probably still going to need to kill 8. Maybe you don't have to kill 8 anymore. Maybe it's only kill 6. So in the last version, you have to kill 8 of the wall segments. Maybe it's going to be 6 now. I'm not exactly sure. And then a cost increase. This thing was getting spammed in maybe an unhealthy way, maybe not. I mean, after the early game, after you get siege out, this god power kind of becomes meh, in my opinion. Like, you just get like a ram out, it's dead, not a problem. But yeah, it was getting spammed. So what can you do? make it a little bit more. All right, advanced defenses technology, converting a wall connected to a tower now takes 25 seconds rather than being instant. Okay, so this one was probably one of the most worried technologies that I noticed in the thing, and that's why I put a video out on it to some degree. But what does this mean? There's 2 uses for this, to be completely clear. There is tower rushing and there is late game tower spamming. Both are very, very powerful. So question 1 is converting a wall connected to a tower taking 25 seconds going to be enough to stop tower rushing? I think so. I mean, you could probably still do it, but if you give me 25 seconds to kill off a 300 HP wall connector, I'm probably going to be able to do that with most civs as long as I just build some dudes. Now, I might be able to fake you out a little bit, throw the wall segments down one game, not ever build any, not get any advanced defenses or something. Or throw them down one game, realize you don't attack them and go, all right, I'm going to get advanced defenses and I'm going to convert it. And then I'm going to go ahead and get some sort of follow-up play. And the other one would be the next game. I do the same thing and then you have to go and shank it down. I see you shanking it down and I go ahead and cancel advanced defenses from getting research and I do something else. So it's a win-win. So I'm not sure about this one, to be honest. The other thing is I don't think this solves the late game problem. I am going to go ahead and go into the late game. I'm going to get this technology probably at like 22 minutes into the game. I'm going to spam out 25 wall connectors on the battlefield where all of the fighting is happening, the important area on the map. And then in 25 seconds, I am going to have all of my towers completed because wall segments build really, really quickly. Okay, here's my hot take. And you guys can tell me I'm an idiot if you like, because this is a hot take. I'm not 100% sure on this. I don't think the tower rushing is a bad thing for Age of Mythology. I think the power of which advanced defenses had was too powerful. It was too quick. It was too instant. It was too strong. What would be interesting for me is if you had charges to convert into a tower, right? Charges to convert a wall segment into a tower. So I got this technology and then say maybe I get like 1 charge. Maybe I get 2 charges, right? To kick the game off. And then every minute after that, I get another charge. Or every 2 minutes after that, I get another charge. And then that's going to just keep ticking on for the rest of the game. And I can go for a tower rush light if I want to. And I can make those 2 towers annoy you. You have to go and shank them down or whatever. Fine. But that's where I would want to see this thing, because I'm not 100% sure. I think that maybe tower rushing has a place in Age of Mythology. I know that I was very surprised by a poll you guys answered on my community post that, you know, it's not actually it doesn't seem like it's a bad thing. It's kind of fun. It's kind of interesting. It changes the landscape of the game in a really big way. But to say it was very powerful would be an understatement. There was a person on ladder who, I'm not sure if it was a Smurf, some like relatively high level Smurf or not, but they had an account that was like 1300 and then they got to 1800 with this. So anyways, Next one is Chi Yo. Yatsu hack damage added to flash strike reduced from 40 to 20. Okay, so it says right here that you're going to need 3 to 1-hit a villager. Yeah, look, this unit here is one of those units that is going to be really, really tough to get in a spot where it's both usable and not oppressive. So I say good luck. I hope this is it. I'm not going to put any more onto that. I'm not sure what they can do, but this is a very, very front-loaded unit. If you get the value and get out, it's huge. If you don't get the value and you lose the unit, it's terrible. So yeah. Or if you get the damage and you don't get out, it's not met. It's like, oh, I don't know if that was worth it, sort of thing. Anyways, onwards and upwards. New bar, Drought God Power, just as follows. Duration increased from 40 to 60. Drought temporary, building hit point, malice reduced from 50% to 40%. Okay, so right now there are 2 really good uses, or 3, I don't actually know yet. 2 or 3 really good uses with this God Power. First use was Drought plus Great Flood. The other use was Drought plus Prairie. But Prairie didn't need it because it was already killing literally everything with all the upgrades. It was, I assume it's been changed. I haven't seen yet. And the third use, which I think was the most cool and the most fun, and like this is what this God Power is, and this is great, was a timing attack with Vanish, with Zhennu's Vanish. You don't need Vanish to use it though. You can just catch your opponent out with this. So yeah, this God Power is a creative God Power. I think it's great. I don't think it's a simple God Power to use, but then again, there are other God Powers that aren't simple to use. For example, Underworld, it's not really simple to use. Shifting Sands, not really simple to use. You still have to kind of have some sort of plan on it. I still go through games where I don't use Shifting Sands. So yeah, it might just be one of those God Powers that you need a plan. If you've got a plan, go and use that plan, use that drought, get the value. Okay, next one. Rock Solid. This thing was stupid bonkers. Only Egyptian players liked this technology because they didn't care. I'm glad it's been nerfed. Okay, next one. Scorching Feathers technology no longer affects siege units. Okay, so this technology, I thought this was good, but then I was told, and I haven't really done the testing, so maybe I shouldn't trust Twitch chat all too much, but there's certain Twitch chat members are high-level players. They said that this doesn't really feel like it does all too much against high pierce armor human units, like the Huskal or the Destroyer. Where it does get value is against myth units. That's basically what this is. It's like, okay, I'm going to get this thing. I'm just going to build Shukonu, and all of a sudden your myth units, they're not going to feel too beefy. I'm going to be able to kill them off with my Deuterinos and happy days. And that was what also was happening to siege units. So not going to happen there anymore. All right, this thing here we go. This is my most hated God Power, I think, ever. It rivals Locust in Extended Edition. Let's see. Fey Beasts adjusts as follows. Summoned Fey Beasts now die at the end of the God Timer. Fey adjusts as follows. Infection damage reduced from 1 to 0.5. Movement speed reduced from 6.5 to 6.0. Hack armor reduced from 20% to 10%. Okay, so this is not enough. I can say it already. This is just not enough of a change for this unit. This thing was and still is bonkers. If this thing erases an entire army in, let's say it erases it, it was like 5 seconds or something. Now it erases it in 10 seconds. If this kills off 20 villages in 3 seconds, which it was, now it's killing off those villages in 6 seconds. If it's moving at 6.0, you can't escape from this thing. I genuinely think that this God Power is just going to be frustrating on the same degree of frustration that Locust on Extended Edition was frustrating. If you guys don't remember Locust on Extended Edition, go and watch some games of that. Or maybe just watch any of the games where I played against Ra on Vubly. I mean, it was weaker on Vubly, but I still was very frustrated. But yeah, this God Power is going to be problematic, I think. At this point, all I can do is say, I'm going to split up my villages as much as I can. I'm going to put towers down onto all the weak points. I'm going to make sure that I've got some heroes in my army. So if my opponent drops this on my army, I'm going to immediately A-move and try and kill them off before the infection damage does too much stuff. And we'll see. I haven't seen it. I haven't really seen any games yet from this new patch. We'll see. But I think this needs more. Okay. Here's Great Flood. So duration reduced by 2 seconds, divine damage reduced by 2, maximum speed reduced by 3, crush damage reduced by 200, reduce the number of segments from 6 to 5, which reduces the width. Okay, so this should mean, I could be wrong on this, this should travel less far and be less wide. And on top of that, doing less damage. This thing is really powerful. I didn't actually think that it looked a lot more powerful than it was. Like, you were always left with your castle. If you had masons, all your military buildings, your town center was always left there. So all your houses got killed. All your storage units got killed. Your villages might have lost if they were in the early part of the wave. You probably lost a bunch of human units as well. So, I mean, if you compare it over to, say, an implode, implode sometimes got more value than that. Sometimes. Not all the time. Sometimes. Great Flood was very, very consistently getting that damage done. So I think this is good. And hopefully it feels less like a click a button and win God Power. All right. Tempestuous Storm. Hero cost reduction reduced from 40% to 25%. I can't remember what this is. I think this is with Gong Gong. Oh, yes. Yeah. Okay, so this was probably Fuxi having some success there. Okay, Fire Archer adjusted as follows. Bonus damage multiplier versus buildings increased from 3x to 4x. Pierce damage increased from 4.5 to 5. So just boosting this unit. It was a unit I didn't want to build because the Chuko Nu are the big one. In fact, it does feel a little bit like China is, I want to get to the heroic age. I want to get to the heroic age. I want to build Cavalry, White Horse Cavalry, and Chuko Nu. That seems like the units that I really want to build. And the other units, maybe. Like, I don't know. I'm not going to build a Fire Archer after I build Chuko Nu. Like, if I can get Chuko Nu, I'm just going to get those. So I'm not sure where this unit's going to belong here. As a siege unit, maybe if you combine this with Drought, for example, could be really, really strong. I heard somewhere that if you get, I don't know, like 10 of these out, number off the top of my head, it's worth the same as like a Cyclops in terms of damage, actual damage you're doing to a building. So could be cool. I don't know. The Ge Halberdier has a bit of a boost and a reduction against cavalry. Oh. I don't know what this is. Is this, hang on, let me do some quick. I got to get a calculator open. So we are now at 4 times 5, which is 20. And we were at 3.5 times 6. I can't do that. 21. So we lost 1 damage versus Cav, but gained 0.5 versus everything else. This unit was feeling kind of okay. It just looked really hard to get out because it costs so much food. And China really struggles to get food because, well, their villages suck. By design, right? You get the quail food to carry them through with the wood and the gold, but this thing is just all food all the way. So I don't know. I think that's why this unit is difficult to have success with, just because the food situation. Maybe a god like Shinong has more success because he can get the farms out, but Nuwa and Fuxi, not so much. Dao Swordsman, train time reduced from 15 to 14 seconds. This unit trains slower relative to its cost. This change rectifies it. Okay. All right. Big boost to the Axe Cart. I was actually starting to think that this unit might be a really cool unit to just use in your army. And now it really might be. Like, it's literally an axe. So I can imagine like an axe coming in and just kind of killing all my opponent's units. It does hack damage to some degree. And with all of this, all of these hit points, I think it might actually not be a terrible idea to use it. I don't know what the hack armor is, but 500 hit points, compare it to some of the other units, I think it might be okay. But we'll see how much damage it actually does to buildings. Anyways, hero units, Pioneer adjusted, so going a bit slower, less damage, more bonus damage versus myth units. This thing is kind of the bread and butter of China in the early game. This is why they were not even having success. This is just like what they do. So this might go out the window. Like, I don't particularly want to have a 4.0 speed unit in my opponent's base at, let's say, 3 minutes and 45 seconds, right? If they're going to be advancing then as well, and all of a sudden getting like an Ajax out and just chasing me down. So, yeah, the Pioneer might be like a unit you're not going to be building early anymore. I could be wrong on that. There's probably some situations where you want to go for it, but the early harass might just be out the window now. All right, Neja. This thing was bonkers in my opinion and is no longer bonkers. What is the stats? What are the stats? Mythic Age. I can't tell. I'm going to have to look at this afterwards. This is just nerfed. Kwafu Hero. All right, this one is important here. Okay, so this is just like a numbers nerf. All right, the problem with this unit, in my opinion, is it is cheaper than a regular Kwafu. So there's no decision making between whether to get this unit or get a regular Kwafu. Like the regular Kwafu is 150 resources total. This is 100 food, 20 favor. And the favor comes in really fast with Noir because you can get those buildings up without needing to spend any resources actually building them with the auto build. So you get it out no matter what. Like it's not brain dead. Not brain dead, but it's just, you just do it. So there's no choice there. But the other thing is, if I'm the opponent and I kill this unit off, he gets it back. He gets it takes the same time to come back as a Raven, an Odin Raven. And this guy's insane. This guy's so good. All right, I'm gonna stop saying this guy's insane. All right, I think that this guy really needs to be exactly the same as the Argo. You buy him, fine. Buy him for the cheap price of 100 food, 20 favor, and then when you go to buy him the next time, he costs, let's say, like 300 resources and like a handful of favor. Not a ton of favor. Just like, let's just say it's, I don't know, 5 favor. Just random number off the top of my head, but just like less. So now you've got this decision to make in, if you lose him, you got this decision to make between whether you get the Kwafu out or you rebuild your hero Kwafu. So one's going to be costing you more favor, but being cheaper resource-wise and one costs less. That would be my idea here, to make this unit feel like important. You don't want to throw it away and all that good stuff. But I imagine there is a design philosophy behind this unit, and they don't want to play. They don't want to play with it. That we'll see. All right, Li Jing, Noir, special ability, stun duration from 5 to 2. This thing was busted. He's probably still really good. 2 second stun. Oof. 2 second stun. Oof. 5 seconds was bigger. 2 seconds is less. Great, but still oof. Why is this a big deal? Effectively, what this does in a fight, just really, really simply put, is it gives your entire army like a boost to their HP. It's something like that, right? Because their opponent's not doing any damage for those 2 seconds. That's where it's big. So yeah, I think you're still going to have to play around this unit really, really big time. I would be doing the tricks where I send one unit forward while my opponent's not watching. The special comes out. I lose that unit, and now I engage. All right. Did we already see this? I thought, oh, this was just the technology. Okay. This is the Yatsu again. Bonus damage multiplier versus heroes reduced. Costs increased. Oh, and hit points increased. Okay. I see. So they're trying. Okay, I get it. All right. They're trying to make it less all-in-y, but more of an investment. And obviously, like killing off heroes with this unit, like you shouldn't be able to kill off a hero with a myth unit. That's not what you shouldn't be able to. Okay, but yeah, less all-in-y. You need more of them. this is probably going to be useful. I would probably still build this unit as Shinong. Like, you know, the 3DB strat, it's probably still good. This bad boy, the trade dude, I actually don't know how to say that. I'm not going to try. Is now better. Okay. Qinglong. Okay, this is the water dragon. This thing was insane. Hang on. No. This thing was insane because it was doing 50 pierce in a area effect of 9 or something. I can't remember exactly what it is. This thing. The reason this thing is strong, like, okay, I'm gonna get out the game. I'm sorry, we have to do this. I just want a quick comparison of this unit. I don't have the thing. I can't tell you. Okay. I'm just gonna give you some random numbers and just trust me on it. Okay. Chimera, area of effect, 4. Divine damage, less than the 50 pierce by quite a margin. It's like 20 divine damage or something on the Chimera. Qinglong was like 9. I could be overstating that. It might be like 8 or 7 or something, but it was a considerable amount more and doing 50 pierce on that initial attack. That's where the damage came from. Yes, you could potentially catch your opponent out sleeping and they wouldn't run away from the puddle, but the big damage was on that initial burst. So I think that this unit needs less area damage. It might not look as impressive to have a small puddle instead of a very large puddle, but I don't see any other way to get around this. This thing is just really, really powerful. It also moves at 5.3 speed, which is the same as the Chimera. So it's better than the Chimera in terms of damage. It's as fast as the Chimera. I think it's got less HP than the Chimera, but it is flying, so that means that it's got infinite hack armor. And the pierce is a thing as well. So yeah, this unit is really, really powerful. It's going to be really strong still. I can imagine this is going to be painful to play against. Good luck, team. There, the Phoenix Deuterino over here now probably has a 2x multiply versus myth units. Okay. Buildings for legends are now considered anchors for favored land, allowing them to initiate building chains. Does that mean you can just place it in the middle of nowhere and get yourself more favored land? I think that's what that means. There's some really interesting things with that. For example, like chucking up a village center as Noir in the back of your opponent's base to then set up a huge amount of buildings. You only need to sneak one villager in and get a village center up with that one villager. Sure, it's going to take like 2 minutes to build, but get that up in a sneaky place and then all of a sudden, auto build. Okay, cool. And then following all of this, we've got some modding stuff. If anyone has any modding queries, definitely ask in the comments section there. But that's what we got. Apologies, I think I really yarned on in this one. Sorry. I'll see you guys in the next one.